Sup Shredders, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to an SP Reacts, where today we got ourselves a track from an act named The Little, titled Not Tonight. And if we switch over to the here, I should note this is not the first time that I have reviewed The Little. Will get Not Night art up on the screen. I've actually checked out their album, titled After Image as well, so we're good to listen to more. We're going to listen through this track from start till finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Not a Night, let's go.
Maybe she was two-faced, losing for a liar. When she was alone, she said she loved him, and he was alone. Attention starved, sweetheart. Had a scary look, you should stay away from him.
I like how wide the tones are.
He wasn't too far gone, and if she'd open up, she was living in a double sensitive at home, but at school she's a rebel and her dad struck alone, throwing bottles at the TV when his game is at a loss and he rages at his.
Interesting combination of tones and textures here with the squealy sounds.
Maybe she was two-faced, and she told him why one day he wasn't a knight in armor, but he was a runner who creates a pain. He wasn't perfect, wrong in his own ways, put pain to his wrist, but she said a better way.
This is such a fuzzy guitar tone. Great introduction of a new sound at this point. That's fantastic. Really good. Really good song. Quite curious about it. We're going to talk about it more in the conclusion. Because welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from The Little, titled Not Tonight. In this section, we're going to provide an overall song analysis for everything from lyrics and vocals all the way through to studio production, as well as any applicable constructive critique, and then finally my general thoughts from a listener's perspective. But first of all, what do we think this track is about? Well, I don't know how well you can see this. I've kindly been provided a copy of the lyrics by Solomon, who is the main musician behind this project, The Little. Maybe she was two-faced, a loser, a fool, liar. Maybe she was alone. She said she loved him, and he was alone, attention-starved, a sweetheart, had a scary look. You should stay away from him. He was living life alone. She was living in a double, sensitive at home, but at school she's a rebel. When his game is at a loss, when his dad's home drunk, throwing bottles at the TV when his game is at a loss and he raises at his. Maybe she was two-faced, and she told him why one day he wasn't a knight in armor, but he was a loner who could ease the pain. He wasn't perfect, wrong. Okay, put pain to his wrist, but she took that away. I'm not sure how to think about this and how to sort of interpret it. And so ultimately, I think with that in mind, it comes to a point where I'm thinking that maybe this track is more about a man and a woman together, trying to sort of establish each other, figure each other out. They're both rebels. He's not a knight, though he's scary looking. He's a loner, and she's trying to maybe kind of reach out to him or kind of figure stuff out. They've got this kind of interesting codependent interpersonal relationship that they're trying to navigate. She gave him what he wanted. He was attention starved, and he didn't know what to do without that. And they took each other's pain away, even if it wasn't a perfect situation. I'm gonna need more time with this, but ultimately it is an interesting track. I feel like I want more time to sort of figure it out. Part of what is cool about this track is how the vocals delivered. Solomon, lyricist, composer, vocalist, etc., studio producer, is very comfortable on the microphone. They have this kind of wistful tone to their voice, which permeates whenever it's present. We're comfortable on the head and chest voice, got no complaints in regards to the expression of it. We have this kind of breathiness there that almost kind of exhibits a sense of tiredness, like this might also be sort of a personal thing that they're going through. I do like the double tracking and the harmonies that they have as well. I think that's effective. It just adds a further presence to the mix, especially when they are still kind of quiet. It's like they don't become too quiet. And like, even though they do become part of ether at certain points, there's enough to kind of guide you through it, but you can also appreciate their voice as a tone and texture within the ether of the piece. And I like the fact that they're kind of minimalist in their approach, in part because it allows us to appreciate a lot of the other elements going on within the arrangement. Because the track at 3 minutes 06 is well fleshed out, no filler within it, nice and short relative to what we get within it. A mixture of different sort of, I think it's through composed, it's kind of verse chorus-ish, but then like as the lyrics change, you get more of the tail and you kind of figure it out. I kind of think that, that's a smart way of doing a song, especially if you've got some components that are more sort of consistent, others that kind of develop and add as we go through it there, because you had a lot of different alt leads and tails and stuff like that as well. Even though I didn't play explicit solo sections, it was more about adding other things to sort of focus on outside of the storytelling. What I kind of dig immediately is like the sound design, the kind of ticking away that we have at the start of the piece there. It's very kind of tense sounding, but it has this kind of ghostly reverb to it that makes it seem sort of otherworldly. When we kind of go away from that and get into that guitar riff in the 10-second mark or so that continues throughout the entirety of the piece, if I'm not mistaken, it's just a nice kind of anchor point there. It's got an inherent sadness there. Also like kind of sounds a bit grounded and kind of gritty there, like it is a struggle that we're going through. When we have the drums kind of come back in and we have this kind of really wide sounding kick and snare and sort of cymbal oriented drum kit, it really does kind of fill out the stereo field quite well and makes it sound huge. And as we add more elements to the piece as we go through it, such as again the vocals, the kind of squealy guitars and synths and stuff like that, we do find niches, notches and niches for these things without overcomplicating the overall harmony. I dig the fact that we also explore some mid to upper range ideas and some arpeggios with the bar chords on those guitar parts as well. I think some additional takes. It's just very sweet sounding, and it is quite a bittersweet track. At that part, we have like kind of reverse takes around like the minute mark there, and we've got the quieter vocals as well. There's just moments of pause and respite there that make you really sort of like double check whether you truly understand what's going on. I know I mentioned that there wasn't really a guitar solo necessarily, like there were sort of lead passages. And I suppose, to be fair, it is a solo, it is a guitar solo part, like around a 110 part. It's just not super like extravagant. It's more like we're trying to sort of have just a different sort of like lead within the layer, trying to sort of like accent certain parts of the frequency spectrum to have more of a kind of a glow or a burn to it. And as we have some sort of like call and responses with the vocals and up different parts of our range there between a head and chest voice, as we continue to have other melodies kind of like reintroduce themselves, like again those arpeggiated guitar parts in the upper lane, you feel like around the 2 minute mark you're starting to really get a feel for what this track is about. Even when you have like the wow, 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 kind of those sounds kind of crying out. And it's like a very kind of spicy, synthy kind of feel to it. It's almost kind of, it's a little bit intimidating, to be honest, but it's the weirdest thing because this music is also quite so gentle, you know? I mean, until you get to the 2 minute 35 mark and you have that kind of really heavy sounding synth bass there. I think that would be maybe even a bass guitar. It just had this amount of aggression to it that was almost kind of surreal. It's very kind of ominous sounding there. And there are other elements, again, like the guitar solo part that I mentioned around the minute 10 mark, where it's more about painting with sounds. It's like we kind of deliberately have a way fuzzier guitar than we might necessarily need, simply because we want the fuzz to express something that maybe the vocals aren't able to in full. But you know, like we just got the ticking at the end there, and you just feel like you've had an adventure with, you know, everyone involved, and it feels unresolved at the same point. you listen to the lyrics and you're not necessarily sure how it ends there, and it makes you think about that, and the music's made you think, and all in all, I feel it's been quite an effective experience. Thematically though, with a really tight instrumental performance there, the bass and the low end typically resolving around the root notes, the guitars playing a variety of different sort of picked sort of melodies and arpeggiated parts, the drums with a variety of different quarter eighths and 16th grooves across like the cymbals, hi-hats and kicks, with like a kind of a boxed in kind of industrial tone to it, which was kind of refreshing, and all those other scratchy distorted elements on top and surrounding it, with moments of kind of like respite again from like the quieter elements and dynamic range in the piece. You've got like a minor oriented track thematically that does highlight both the beauty of some of the picked guitar elements and the harmonic textures, whilst also resonating with some of the innate sadness that we feel about the situation that we're in there. It's a kind of a nuanced experience. But yeah, I like the variety of different expressions of both the guitar and the drum parts, especially some of their on-beat and syncopated grooves, and some of the bendy bits and articulations on the lead guitar as well, pretty neat, as well as some of the design decisions and like the foliage parts there, and just the way that we stylized the piece there, which is a consistent thing across the Littles music. Studio recording, mixing and mastering wise, just the way that the vocals are processed with the double tracking, the reverbs accused, etc. The way they kind of work within different meters, have a bit of distortion on them. Same with the guitars, all the different sort of guitar takes and the fuzzy kind of textures that we have on those. The different positions for those within the stereo field and frequency spectrum. The bass as well, especially at the end with how kind of like foreboding it was. The drums with the compression and sort of sidechaining and EQing and stuff, and the way that they kind of push forward with their very sort of like distinct tone. And then all the other kind of synthy and other kind of experimental noises that we have throughout the piece in various forms factors, and the teching sound as well. You just have a variety of elements that not only recorded well but also position themselves well within the frequency spectrum in the stereo field. Music surrounds you in the headphones, things go left and right, and I like the fact that like you're always kind of searching for the next thing and you do miss it when it's gone. Again, there's dynamic range, and from a production perspective as well, nice and loud bus compression limiting is handled. And again, like I think that just, like from a final general listener's perspective, the Little have just got something really special going on. I feel like if they can continue to refine and find individual kind of like niches for themselves and try and find more ways to tell the listener that who they are so that they can hear them upon immediately, like you want to be instantly recognizable, at least to a certain extent with the industry nowadays, in order to kind of stand out. I just ultimately feel like we've got a lot of positives here, and I wish them all the best in luck in future musical endeavors. Because thank you very much for watching my review of this track from an accent a little titled Not a Night, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please go show them some love via the various social medias and the Spotify page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians now at this point in time, as they need to help more than ever with the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I'll catch you in the next SP Reacts. Spiderhands out.